The second part of our lecture will be about JWT attacks. In this section, we will look at how design issues and the flawed handling of JSON web tokens, or in a short JWT. We can leave websites vulnerable to a variety of high severity attacks. As JWT are the most commonly used in authentication, session management, and access control mechanisms, these vulnerabilities can potentially compromise the entire website and the users. Don't worry if you are not familiar with JWTs and how they work. We will cover all of the relevant details as we go. We've also provided a number of deliberately vulnerable labs in the port figure, so that you can practice exploiting these vulnerabilities, and you will try and suit. What are JWT? JSON web tokens are standardized format for sending cryptographically signed JSON data between systems. They can theoretically contain any kind of data, but are most common used to send information about users as part of the authentication, session handling, and access control mechanisms. Unlike with classic session tokens, all of the data that a server needs is stored client-side within the JWT itself. This makes JWTs a popular choice for highly distributed websites where users need to interact seamlessly with multiple backend servers. Here you can see the format of JWT. Yeah. A JWT consists of three parts: a header, payload, and a signature. These are each separated by a dot, as shown in the header. Then it's the payload, and then it's the signature. Yes, the header and the payload part of the JWT are just base 64 URL encoded JSON objects. The header contains metadata about the token itself, while the payload contains the actual claims about the user. For example, you can decode the payload from the token above to reveal the following claims. In most cases, this data can be easily read or modified by anyone with access to the token. Therefore, the security of any JWT-based mechanisms is heavily reliant on the cryptographic signature. JWT signature JWT signature, the server that issues the token typically generates the signature by hashing the header and the payload. In some cases, they also encrypt the resulting hash. Either way, this process involves a secret signing key. This mechanism provides a way for servers to verify that none of the data within the token has been tampered with since it was issued. As the signature is directly derived from the rest of the token, changing a single byte of the header or payload results in a mismatched signature. Without knowing the server's secret signing key, it shouldn't be possible to generate the correct signature for a given header or payload. If you want to gain a better understanding of how JWTs are constructed, you can see the debugger on JWT.io. Here, if you open the tips part, you can find some experiment with the arbitrarily tokens. The JWT signification is actually very limited. It only defines a format for representing information as a JSON object that can be transferred between two parties. In practice, JWT aren't really used as a standalone entity. The JWT space is extended by both the JWT web signatures and the JWT web encryption, as you see here. Specifications which define concrete ways of actually implementing JWTs. In other words, a JWT is usually either a GVS or a GVE token. When people use the term JWT, or I don't know, they almost always mean a GVS token. GVE are very similar, except that the actual contents of the token are encrypted rather than just encoded. It's worth noting that for simplicity throughout these materials, JWT refers primarily to GVS tokens. Also, some of the vulnerabilities described might also apply to GVE tokens. Also, the second question is, what are JWT attacks? JWT attacks involve a user sending modified JWTs to the server in order to achieve a malicious goal. Typically, this goal is to bypass authentication and access controls by impersonating another user who has already been authenticated. The next question is, what is the impact of the JWT attacks? The impact of JWT attacks is usually severe. If an attacker is able to create their own valid tokens with arbitrary values, they may be able to escalate their own privileges or impersonate other users, taking full control of their accounts. How the vulnerabilities to JWT attacks arise? JWT vulnerabilities typically arise due to the flawed JWT handling within the application itself. The various specifications related to JWTs are relatively flexible by design, allowing website developers to decide many implementation details for themselves. This can result in them accidentally introducing vulnerabilities even when using and battle-hardened libraries. These implementation flaws usually mean that the signature of the JWT is not verified properly. This enables an attacker to tamper with the values passed to the application via the token payload. Even if the signature is robustly verified, whether it can truly be trusted relies heavily on the server's secret key remaining a secret. If this key is leaked in some way or can be guessed or brute forced, an attacker can create a valid signature for any arbitrary token, compromising the entire mechanism. In case you haven't worked with JWTs in the past, we recommend familiarizing yourself with the relevant features of Burp Suite before attempting the labs on the topic. Okay, working with JWT in Burp Suite. JWT are a standard format for sending cryptographically signed JSON data between systems. They are commonly used in authentication, session management, and access control mechanisms. This means that if an attacker can successfully modify a JWT, they may be able to escalate their own privileges or impersonate other users. You can use Burp Inspector to view and decode JWTs. You can then use the JWT editor extension to generate cryptographic signing keys, edit the JWT, and then reassign the token with a valid signature that corresponds to the edited JWT. You can follow along with the process below using the JWT authentication bypass via weak signing key lab. Before you start your labs, you should install the JWT editor extension. For more information, you can see the installing extensions in the also Burp Suite. Let's see in the Burp Suite JWT. Identify first of all we identify a request with the JWT that you want to investigate further. Look for the highlighting requests here, and in proxy HTTP history, these are automatically flagged by the JWT editor extension.